question number 5. So what we want to know here, did I just burp? Oh my gosh, gross. Okay, so problem number 5. I want to know the position at the end of each of the intervals, which is why I crossed out those little deltas, so I didn't need to worry about that. So let's be clear. This is the velocity, which I label v naught. And to be clear, that is the same as the rate for our purposes. And then I'm going to add one word here that's going to make it useful for part E. This also relates to the slope of your position graph, okay? So put that in parentheses. It's related to the slope of your position graph. So I want to know where we're going to be at the end of 8 seconds. So I'm traveling for 8 seconds at a rate of 10. I'm going to just use my DIRT formula. So the amount that I cover, 10 meters per second for 8 seconds, means that I end up at 80 meters. Now for part B, here's what's going to happen. I look here, and now, again, this 8 to 18 seconds, don't let that throw you off. We're interested in how much time are we traveling for during the second interval here. And when we look, 8 to 18 seconds means we've got a total travel time here of 10 seconds during this part of the interval. So when I use distance as rate times time, what I'm getting is that my rate is -5 because I'm going backwards, and I'm doing that for 10 seconds. So I covered 50 meters going backwards, but let's be clear on what that means. So if we start here at part A, if this is our meter stick, 0 to 100 meters, so it's a really big stick. So we go from 0, we end up at 80 meters in part A, and then in part B, what we're saying is that we go back another 50. And so we end up right here. And when we actually look at what that total distance is, it ends up being 30. So I go to 80 here. I go back 50 and wind up at 30 meters. Make absolutely sure you are clear on what this argument means and why. If not, come see me. And then for part C, our speed is 0, so we cover 0 meters. We just sit there. And so we're at the 30 meter mark. And then finally, at the end for part D, distance is rate times time. Our rate is 5 meters per second, and we're doing that for about 2 seconds. And so we travel an additional 10 meters forward, and we end up here. So now, part E, let's go ahead and draw the position graph. Now, the maximum position I ever reach on the mark is 80 meters. So I'm going to count by 20 meters here because it's the most convenient system to measure by. So 80, 60, 40, and 20. This is the time in seconds. Now let's be clear. In 8 seconds, I wind up at the 80 meter mark. And I started at the origin. So I can just draw a line and connect like that. I would use a ruler. Now, at 18 seconds, I end up at the 30 meter mark. So I'll just get that labeled here. I stay there for 4 seconds. And finally, I wind up at the 40 meter mark at the end. So that's question number 5.